joined.
Hi everyone, this is Annette Yorks with the Annette Yorks Group, and this is Sandy Datcher. Welcome. It's Saturday morning, and we're going to do a little bit, we're going to give you some information on staging and selling your home. So you're probably thinking, what's those props? Well, hey, it's fall, right? It's Halloween. So who's thinking, I'm going to list my house this time of year?
It's not so scary.
It's not so scary. We're sitting right here in front of these things right here, and it's not scary. So we wanted to go through the process of how it is when you work with the Annette Yorks Group at Keller Williams here in State College. And if you have questions at the end, we're going to post this, obviously. So if there's any questions, we'll do everything we can to answer. So let's get started. So you're thinking, uh-oh, I got to sell my home. Maybe you're relocating. Maybe you found that perfect dream home, and you give your real estate agent a call. I can tell you when we get a call, this is what we do. We set up an appointment with you, and I'm actually going to come out to your property. And when I come out to your property, I'm going to ask you to sell your home to me. So I'm going to take a bunch of notes. And I go through those notes, all the way through bedrooms, baths, unfinished space. Then we sit down at the table and we go over some paperwork. And I actually have a folder. Might be hard for you to see the paperwork, but what we go over first is going to be a consumer notice. So you've probably seen this if we were showing you homes anyway, because we go over the consumer notice on our first appointment. What is the consumer notice? Well, it's not a contract, so you don't have to be scared. It's not a contract. It basically states, in what capacity are we working for you? And it talks about seller agency or buyer agency. So maybe you're already we're already your buyer agent. Now I'm going to be your listing agent, so I'm selling your home. And it just goes through the different agencies and what do we do? What the heck goes on in a real estate office? I mean, there's probably a lot of people that have those questions, right? Before we were realtors, didn't we have those questions? So then it talks about a dual agency, and I don't want to get into a ton of just about these contracts, but dual agency in essence is if you were to purchase one of our listings, we would then be a dual agent because we would be representing the seller and you're our buyer. There's designated agency and then a transaction licensee. And in the back part of this contract, it just talks about our duties to you, the consumer. And by the way, a lot of people have been interested when I talk about this. There's certain terms that are negotiable, everybody, and commission is negotiable in the state of Pennsylvania. It's negotiable in a lot of states. So ask your agent, when you talk to them about that. And then we ask you to sign, we sign, and our license number is here, so hey, these folks are licensed realtors. So, okay. So that's the first thing we're going to go over. What else do we go over? We're going to go over a listing contract. Okay, so the listing contract is not that scary, believe it or not. Theme here. And it basically talks about, number one, how long are we going to work for you? Typically, our contracts are 6 months, and if the home isn't sold, then we will ask to increase that time with a separate addendum. And in here, we do have our commission structure. It also talks about us cooperating, which means paying a commission to a buyer agent. So that is in here. You do know that we work with other buyers and sellers. That's very obvious. And it talks about the deposit monies and things like that. Like what happens? Okay, your house sells. Where does that deposit go? The deposit always goes into the escrow account of the listing office. And then at closing, it's credited. And we can explain that. That would be something, like that's a whole other conversation as to go through the whole contract line by line. It talks about, we list other properties, and it talks about multiple offer situations. It talks about if your home was built before 1978, it could be lead-based paint. There's a lot of things here, home warranties, what's included in the property. It talks about you can't enter into this and then go and talk to another realtor and sign another one. You need to be released from this contract, and you just give your realtor something in writing and ask to be released. So that basically is something we sit and go over at that point. Why do we go over all of this? Well, we've come up with a number. If we've come up with a price on your home, we're going to go over all this, and our group is going to start pre-marketing. And what happens when we pre-market? We snap a picture. Your house is going to go live already with our feed, and then we're going to come back to the office, and I'm going to call Sandy Datcher.
That's right.
And Sandy is then going to meet with you, and she's going to go over a little bit of what she does when she walks into your home. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Great. And that's really important. Once you've signed the contract and then we're starting the marketing process, I'm going to get a call from Annette. And then I'm going to set up an appointment with you that will last about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on how large your home is or how many different rooms or the content that we need to go over. And I'll come in before pictures are taken. This is really important to get your home ready for those pictures, because when buyers are out there looking for homes that are for sale, once they find a home that meets their criteria, once they figure the neighborhood out and the bedrooms and all those criteria, the next thing they're going to do is they're going to look at those pictures. They're going to look through each picture, and they're going to make a determination about whether they want to set an appointment up with their agent or not to go look at your property. So those pictures are really important. So what I do when I come in is to get your home ready for the best possible picture. And I'm going to be honest, some of my biggest pet peeves when I'm looking at pictures that other agents put up of their properties, in my opinion, don't represent the homes well. You can't see windows. I mean, how many times have you seen a picture of just a bed in a bedroom? We know that's a bedroom. So that would never happen with us, but we're going to make sure that your picture looks the best. So some of the things that we do, the first thing I do is I'm going to ask you for a quick tour, just like Annette does. We're both going to get a quick tour of your home, and then we're going to go back to the beginning, and we're going to have notepads, and we're going to give you detailed instructions on your homework.
Yes.
This is the unglamorous part of it. It's not going to be fun, because typically you only have about 3 days to get this work done, because we're going to start moving your home very quickly. So we're going to walk room by room, and this is where I'm going to tell you exactly. I'm going to be looking up and looking down. Not only am I going to tell you the things that you need to clean, we're going to be removing furniture. One of the really important things, and it's so hard for sellers, is not just the decluttering, but the depersonalization of it. Taking down family photos, because this is your home, and this makes you feel content when you see pictures of your family. But we really have to get you out of that mindset of selling your home. Now you're selling property, you're selling a commodity. We also have to make sure that people that are walking through can picture themselves living in this and making it their home. So pictures of other families make it a little bit difficult for them to visualize their own family living there. So first things first, that's the first thing you can do, and just know that when I come in, family pictures are going to come down, every single one. However, I would like to point out antique photos of grandparents. In some situations, I think that's okay, and we're leaving those up. But when it comes to families, definitely those pictures come down. So we're going to continue the tour. We're going to go into the kitchen. This is a really important part, and I've heard it said before, and I stand by this. Kitchens are the barometer of the rest of the home. That counters clean, ovens clean, and for the day of the pictures, we're going to tell you nothing on the counters, nothing on the floors, nothing on the refrigerator. And why do we tell you that? Because buyers, when they're looking at those pictures, they're looking, hey, what kind of countertop is that? What kind of fridge is that? They're looking at the floors. What flooring is that? Is that a wood floor? Is it a laminate floor? We want to be able to showcase everything. We want the house to sell itself. We don't need to see things to sell the house. So we just continue that. We walk through each one. One of the really important things that we like to remind everyone: toilet seats down, the day of pictures and for showings. Simple things like that. Runs about an hour and a half, and we're going to go through each one, and I trust you when it comes time to have your pictures taken, it's going to be the best possible projection of that. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I can tell you, when Sandy's at a house, the before and after pictures are amazing. This is something to us that's really important, that you want to, when you're interviewing your realtor, you want to ask them, do you have a professional stager that you are working with? And Sandy's part of our team. She's also a buyer agent. She works with our buyers, but she's been doing this for how long now?
Over 20 years.
Yeah, so this is the kind of a professional you want to come into your home, because she has, she's coming in with fresh eyes. She knows exactly how she wants these pictures to be taken. And the day of photos, 9 times out of 10, Sandy's there.
Yeah.
We're all running around that day, and getting the house ready. I think it's a huge disservice in the market today, because everything is online. You have to put your best foot forward in your photos, and because that's really technically your first showing.
Yeah, it's your first impression.
It is. So that's why we want to make sure that when that person sees your home online, that's the first showing, and when they walk through the door, that's number 2, and they're going to want to write an offer, because they're comparing you to that other house down the street, maybe, that doesn't look like yours. And again, weren't we just watching something today about what about the baseboards? What about the windows?
Ceiling fan blades.
Yeah, cleaning those and things like that. You don't think of these things, but you really make sure that your baseboards are clean. Ceiling fan blades, because you look up, like Sandy said, there's just, they're looking, and make sure your kitchen is very clean.
Buyers are very, they will pick your home apart, but we're going to come in and we're going to tell you these things before our buyer's going to tell you this in feedback. So we don't want, when we're asking for other agents for feedback after they've toured your home, well, it was great location, but it was dirty, it smelled, there were stains all over the carpet. We're going to come in and we're going to be really blunt, we're going to be really honest, we're going to tell you those things ahead of time, everything that you need to do. If your carpet needs cleaning, we're going to tell you that, because we want your home to sell, and we want it to sell quickly. And how do we do that? We're going to be very honest with you, and we're going to give you some serious homework to tackle so that you can move on to your next home.
Absolutely. And I'm sure when you're looking as a buyer, because when you're selling, you're also probably looking as a buyer, you can almost appreciate and see, what we're talking about at that point.
We want your home to look well cared for, because when people are walking through, if they're seeing dirty baseboards, dirty air vent fans, and just things that just don't look like they've been really well cared for, they're going to start wondering what else has been neglected, and we don't want that conversation to come up.
That's exactly right. So now Sandy has been to your home. So what else happens? Okay, so Sandy's come over. Well, the next phase, and these are our brochures, but I'm opening it up so you can just see. Inside, which is probably hard to see, we have Home Depot come and do a floor plan of your home. They measure, they do a floor plan. And why do we do that? Well, number one, we're going to post that online so people can see, does this floor plan work for me? Yeah. We get more compliments from buyers because they're like, wow, now I know where I can put my furniture. So, they're online for everyone to view. We do booklets that look like this. We embed those floor plans in all of our marketing on the website and everywhere. So it's really important, and people really like it. And I've been a buyer myself. It helps me to know where I'm going to put things, and I know Sandy would agree.
Yeah, we really, when we're selling your home or listing and marketing, we're really catering to the buyer. So we're taking care of you, but we're doing everything that we know that buyers are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after this, and you're all ready, and you're like, Sandy, Annette, come on over. I'm ready for pictures. Now we have Steve Tressler from Vista Studios. Shout out, Steve. Hey.
We love Steve.
We love Steve. He's going to come out and take photos of your home. And brochures like I just showed you, or like this, are done of your home. Now, depending on pricing of your home, how large your home is, will depend on the size brochure that we do. But Tori, my assistant, she designs these for you, and then we have them printed here locally, and these are going to be sitting at your home. So when there's a showing, they'll be sitting there, and you know, a prospective buyer can pick it up and take it. Honestly, if you were a buyer, wouldn't you love to come home with some of these instead of just a plain old piece of paper that just has a little one picture of the house? This has everything you need, and it'll direct you then to the site for the property, which takes us to our website. And who better to market your home than your listing agent? So we're doing everything we can on top of the Facebook. We're going to do Facebook Live when we're getting your house ready, Instagram, open houses, and realtor open houses. These are the kind of questions when you're sitting with your agent and you're interviewing maybe 2 or 3 agents, you need to ask them, what are you doing to market my home? And then once they list it, what are you doing every week to tell me, you know, what's going on? You know, how many people have looked at my home here and there, and you know, what's your game plan this week? And you know, the way we market, we're constantly discussing your property. You know, maybe showings have slowed down. You know, the first 2 weeks that your home is listed, you will be the busiest because you're the new kid on the block. I always say that. They've seen everything else, now they want to see you. And if we don't have an offer in that first couple weeks, we've got to, you know, decide, okay, we can't move the house because the house is where the house is if there's an issue with location.
Right.
You know, you've staged it, it's in pristine condition. The only thing you can change is price, and we will have those conversations with you. Ultimately, it is your decision, but we are here to tell you what we're seeing in the market. We don't make that market, we are interpreting it. I have told buyers and sellers this before. When you're a seller, you might say, well, okay, but you know, I know so-and-so's house down the street sold for this. Could have been a different time, I don't know what the circumstance, but the buyer will set the price for your house. If a buyer isn't willing to pay what we have it listed for, they're not going to do that. And I have some people that say, well, how come they don't just make an offer? Well, they might not want to insult either. And you know, now there are some buyers that are you know what, I'm going to put an offer out there. And we negotiate, and it comes together. It really does. But there are some buyers that are just like, I don't want to put in an offer like that. So, you know, everybody's different. So when you are getting ready to list your home, interview agents. And we, the Annette Yorks Group, would be glad to sit down with you and go over the process. We have a very skilled team with Tori, who is our executive assistant. We have Sandy, buyer agent and stager. We have Bree, who is one of our buyer agents. We have Diana Doss, who is our transaction coordinator. She helps you from contract to close. We want to make this the most smooth transaction for you and transition from one property to another as possible, because it's already stressful enough, right?
Yeah, it is, and we make it pretty hassle-free, I think. We just really take care of our people.
Yeah,
and the process.
And the process.
Feedback Friday. I love this part, and you know, so I think we do this differently and really good. So,
want us to discuss Feedback Friday? Well, Sandy knows this from the other end of it. It's not as much fun because she, in the interim, as we were training Tori, Sandy was sitting in as our admin for a little bit. As my daughter decided it was time for her to go to her accounting career, and she was with us for 4+ years, and great shout out to Crystal, because we love her. Anyway, so what's Feedback Friday? Okay, this idea came to me from a lender that actually he was doing this, and this is Andre Munar. Hi Andre, shout out to Andre Munar at Munar Mortgage. He's a great guy, and someone, if you're thinking of, you know, looking for a mortgage or whatever, he's great, and he's local. But anyway, okay, so he said to me, he did Feedback Friday. This was a few years ago, and I was like, Feedback Friday, okay. You know, how hard is it when we have nothing to tell you? You know, a week's gone by, you haven't had any showings. And in the beginning, when I was a real estate agent, I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything.
Pretty hard to get somebody to come down in price if you're not giving them any
any information
along the way.
And I was afraid, I didn't want to tell them, oops, we don't have anything. And finally, we found out about Feedback Friday. So this is what it is. So every Friday, I'm going to look online at properties that are pending, active, and sold every week. So I know what sold, what pending, and I'm going to email you. We are going to email you that information. We want you to know what's going on in the market. And then Sandy, why don't you talk about the rest of it? Like, I do that part, but they're doing a lot behind the scenes.
Right. We're also monitoring the activity on Zillow and Trulia. How many times your property has been viewed, how many times your home has come up on a search, how many times did somebody actually click on your home once your home has come up on a search. So we're going to break that down for you. And then we're also going to break down the feedback directly from the agents. So once somebody has come through and has seen your home, we're emailing the agent, hey, tell us what you think, how did you feel about the condition of the home, the price of the home, are they willing to make an offer, do they want to come back? So we're trying to extrapolate all that information as much as we can from agents, and then we're also giving that to you. So Annette's going to break down what's happening in the market. We're going to give you the other side of it, like what the buyers are thinking and how many times they're searching the other sites, because once your home is marketed, it shows up on over 300
different
sites. Yep. So we're constantly analyzing what's happening in the market, how we can help you move your property.
Yeah, and our sellers really appreciate that, because every Friday they
don't just
know.
stick a sign in your yard and bolt.
Yeah, that's not what it's about. It's not, we're not saying, hey, we're with this company, and because I put that sign in the yard, your house is automatically going to sell. No, in the day and age of the technology and what we're working with now, you need to be telling, we need to be telling our clients what's going on, and we can see it. Tori will say, hey, look, this one house on our website, the views are like off the charts, but we're not getting any offers. So now we're saying to ourselves, okay, well, we've got people's attention, but there's something about it that they won't make an offer. And that's the kind of conversation that we need at that point to have with the seller and say, look, people are looking, they're not making an offer, so we need to make some changes. And so Feedback Friday, we've been doing that for the last few years now, and I just feel like it's a good way to tell, our clients, hey, this is what's going on, and we are out there every day. We're not just sitting in our office. We are out here, doing everything we can to market your home. So yeah, that's important. I didn't even think about the Feedback Friday. You will get your showing, as soon as a showing goes into your property too, for your property, we actually have a feedback system that goes out automatically. So we're doing our best to get that feedback within the first 3 days. I can tell you, if someone has interest, I'm getting a call right away or an email. If maybe it didn't work for them, that's usually when I don't get any kind of a response until I finally make a phone call to them on day 3. So, but this is just part of, what we do. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything, but I think, at that point, once we are marketing and you've had a realtor open house and an open house and things like that, now we're kind of in the groove of we're getting ready to, get your home under contract. And then what happens? Well, that's when Diana Doss steps in. So we now have an accepted agreement, and our transaction coordinator will step in. And of course, we're still involved, but she will start to walk you through the process of inspections, getting ready to have your deed signed, talk about utility transfers, etc., and get you ready for closing. And she is spectacular. Diana's been doing real estate well over 20 years. She had a team in Arizona, and she is just a class act. So she will take care of you all the way through closing. We're all together, but it's just a way to kind of keep everyone coordinated and working together. So that's just a little bit of what we do with the Annette Yorks Group. And we're going to be doing more informational videos and things like that. We're going to have more seminars, and the seminars are free. To walk in and learn, what does it take to list my home? What do I have to do if I want to buy a home? So, we're going to put the video on, and if you have any questions, please, ask us on Facebook, and we would be glad to, answer anything we can. And thanks for spending some of your Saturday. Thanks, Miss Sandy. She's spectacular. And everybody have a happy Halloween.
Yay.
See ya.
That should be enough time for Tori to